You want to be free, you got to free your mind. You know, our imagination is our reality. We're under this illusion that our imagination is something fake. You know, people be like, "Oh, that's just your imagination," and that just means like that's not real. It's just something fake. But ironically, your imagination is your reality. Whatever you imagine to be real, whatever you believe to be real, is what's real to you. So as we get older, we just get older. But it's about growing up on a spiritual level. So that means like the things that you were taught as a child, you're supposed to wake up to the truth of what that shit really means, right? But at the same time, we still are children in spirit as well, because we're always learning, we're always evolving, we're always growing. So you have to, and this is why that inner child and having a relationship with your inner child is very important, because you have to be able to kind of get out of your pride, get out of your adult energy, and like humble yourself enough to talk to the child that's still inside of you, that still exists, right? And tell it things that you were told as a child, like to comfort you and to keep life innocent and pure for you. So, especially if you have kids, this is easy for you to like understand what I'm saying. Because like how you tell your kids like, "Oh, monsters aren't real." When they get scared or something, you tell them, "Oh, that's not real." You know what I'm saying? You have to tell yourself the same things as you get older. The devil's not real. You know what I'm saying? Zombies aren't real. Demons aren't real. You have to tell yourself these things, and even if you feel as though they are, you get what I'm saying? They do exist, and we can be aware that they are a possibility of the universe's creation, because the universe, the source that we know of, God, creates everything and has created everything, okay? And is that source of creation. But it doesn't just create good things, it creates all things. And we, as the forces of energy that we are, when we, as consciousness expressing itself live through our souls, we either, show up or identify as light or dark, aka benevolent or malevolent, like peaceful or evil. You evolve. Either way, you're still evolving. Whether you're choosing to evolve into the light or you're choosing to evolve into the dark, it's still evolution. So you have to be aware of all these things. And once you gain the awareness of all these things, because in the physical reality, they make us feel like it's separate. They make us feel like light and dark is separate. They make us feel like light and dark are opposing sides, but it's actually one side. This is why as above, so below is a thing. And that's a deeper topic in itself. But in knowing all these things, we become aware of these forces. We become aware of ourselves, and we know, okay, I'm not evil. I'm not dark. I'm not malevolent. I choose to be a light being. I choose to, be loving, and my intentions and heart are pure and good. I choose to evolve into further light, into ascend to further light, right? Because that's what free will, that's what you're here. So when you have chosen, and this is what I believe the term chosen one comes from, because you choose the path of enlightenment, right? You choose God, you choose to do these things, okay? Because we all have a choice, regardless of what we feel like we are by nature. We can choose to do some other shit, because by nature we're light and dark. By nature we are positive and negative. By nature we are evil and peaceful. By nature we have this in us. It's just about what you choose to experience more of. You get what I'm saying? So I feel like that's where the term chosen one comes from, is because we do choose this with our free will. However, once you choose this path of enlightenment, you know what comes with that, right? You know what certain things you are not to still do, what certain, thoughts that you aren't to still have, because this will limit your own evolution into the further light. So there will constantly always be this state of having to choose between this lower version of yourself or this higher version of yourself. Those of you who have chosen to walk this path of enlightenment, it takes discipline. It takes that willpower to serve the higher self rather than the lower self, because it's always going to be there. It's always going to be tempting you to do some lower nature shit, because that's who you are too. It's in your nature. But since you're choosing to ascend, you're choosing to grow up spiritually, you're choosing light, right? You realize in doing that there's certain things that are tied to your lower self that you can't take with you if you want to continue to move up and level up and have a better, higher experience in life, right? So you have to then become aware of all of the programming and the limitations that you have placed upon yourself before you gained your awareness and before you were able to choose what path that you really wanted to take. Because before we gained the awareness to realize that we even have a choice, right? We just exist. We just do what we're told. We just do what's around us. We just, adapt to our said environment. And since our said environment is a matrix is an environment. So we just adapt to the matrix before we gain our awareness. Once we gain our awareness is when we are presented with the choice of what path we want to take. And then, so once you take that path, then as you're going on this path, you'll start to realize, it'll start to become aware to you what thoughts that you have, what programming that you have that limits you, what things that you were told that are okay to do, that are safe to do, that aren't necessarily, that you shouldn't do if you want to ascend, if you want to experience this type of life. But they don't want us to experience this type of life. We weren't evolving the way that we were supposed to. We didn't have the knowledge, Anyways, whole thing. The matrix that exists does not support that. It does not support evolution into light. It does not support evolution into your most highest being and all of those things. It does not. It keeps you in a limited state if you don't awaken out of the matrix. If you don't become aware of the environment and the constructs that hold it all together. So freeing yourself is getting yourself mentally out of those, is getting yourself out of the programming and all that. And most of that is done as a child. So as we awaken, and we start to realize what divine feminine, what divine masculine energy is, which we all possess divine masculine and feminine energy. We all possess feminine and masculine energy because it's just energy. And those words are just traits broken down into masculine or feminine categories. But either way it goes, it's just talking about energy, okay? And we all have, like I said, masculine and feminine energies. Anyways, we have that inner child as well. And that is the form of us. That is the energy that we are in when we are most easily manipulated, when we are most programmed, when we get programmed the most is when we're a child, because we literally don't know any better. We come here seeking knowledge, seeking understanding of everything as a child. So the things that they tell us is knowledge, we take as truth, right? But then as you gain awareness, you start to get your wisdom and you start to be like, okay, no, this shit ain't how it's supposed to be. But your inner child will still be holding on to some beliefs, still be holding on to some certain things, certain habits, certain addictions, certain things that brought you comfort and peace as a child growing up, anything like that. There's a lot of conditioning and programming that your inner child still possesses. So that's why it's important to go back to that inner child and to tell you things, to purify your imagination the way that you want your 333 on the clock, the way that you want your child's imagination to be pure. You don't want your child to be fearful and scared to be themselves and to live lives. You don't want yourself to be fearful and scared to be yourself and to live life here. So the same things that you would tell a child, the same things that you would tell your child or a child, you get what I'm saying, that's scared about life or about this world, to bring them comfort and peace, you need to tell yourself that same stuff as many times as you need to, as many times as you have to regurgitate it to program your subconscious, because that is what's been programmed in our lives since birth. So in knowing that, that is the real best way that you're going to truly get out of the matrix and begin to be the creator of your own reality and the master of your own reality. Outside of that, you will continue to have masters. Anything that you feel like limits what you want to do in any type of way, shape, or form, you're giving something else that power over you, and it's not real. It's an illusion, because you are the only fucking source of real power here. Ashe.